Astros strike. Again, the rich getting a little bit stronger. They make the deal to get Gerrit Cole.
I was just tremendously excited. How do you ask for anything more than to be coming to the World Champions?
I mean, they got, in my mind, a guy that can be an ace.
We've celebrated a lot this winter, and I've said at some point we're gonna turn the page and get to the next season, and that's coming very, very soon.
Oh, we began the show talking about Andrew McCutchen returning to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah, Gerrit Cole was once a Pirate, heavily hyped prospect in that massive trade on this date in history. January 13th, 2018. 5 years ago, he goes to the Astros in exchange. Joe Musgrove, who of course has now blossomed with the San Diego Padres, Michael Feliz, Jason Martin, and Colin Moran. And of course, the Pirates looking for like a Brian Reynolds type big trade like that, as he right now is on the market. We continue here on MLB Tonight. Carlos Pena, Ron Darling, Adnan Burke. It's always every 14-year-old's fantasy, right, Ronnie? You say, okay, if I could make this trade, I would do this, I would swap this guy. And it's fun to go back and revisit it. Gerrit Cole, we all knew he was going to be special, but you saw with the Pirates, he went to a different level once he went to the Houston Astros.
Well, it's interesting. The Astros did it 3 times, really, when I think about it, with established veteran pitchers, Zach Greinke, Cole, and Verlander, right?
Yes.
3 guys that became even better in a Houston uniform. And a lot of it was, if you watch Gerrit Cole when he pitched in the Pirates uniform, there was a lot of two-seam in his game. There was a lot of ground ball in his game. There weren't as many strikeouts in his game. And when he came over to Houston, they took that two-seamer away, made him 4-seamer up in the zone with that good breaking ball, and he struck out 300.
Yeah, it actually, if you think about it, just moving over there and meeting had to do precisely with Brent Strom.
Yeah.
Big time.
Brent Strom, man, he is a magician when it comes to working with pitchers. And look what happened to Verlander as well. There's no reason, there's no secret. Brent Strom was the key there to turning, these pitchers into going up into the next level. And now we see where Cole is, is one of the highest paid pitchers in the game.
Yeah, $324 million has worked out well for him. Maybe if Musgrove was still the Pirates, that trade would look a little bit better. But it's fun to look back at some of these other monster trades and just exactly how these things went down. Juan Soto, of course, the jury's still out. You felt like, Los, this was a home run, and yet didn't hit the ground running in San Diego right away. Josh Bell was an all-star with the Nationals, did not fare particularly well at San Diego, and they give up a lot. And I'm telling you, Mackenzie Gore, a lot of hype. Robert Hassel III, C.J. Abrams, if those guys are going to be heavily hyped prospects for good reason, this could be a really good trade for the Nationals, especially if Soto is not retained by the Padres, which remains to be seen. Still a couple more years there.
And this is precisely what the Nationals are trying to do, build up. Obviously they gave up such a pillar in their organization, but it was just the timing was not correct. Now, and we look at the San Diego Padres, it's like, okay, now they're putting the foot, all the way down. You're putting the gas all the way down because they have to go get it. And they're having the pieces, getting the pieces. You just signed Cruz, just solidifying that, not only the clubhouse, but also bringing in a pretty solid bat into the lineup. So this is the key. That's what you try to do with trades. See if you can just cross that threshold. For San Diego Padres, I think it's going to work out just fine.
What's interesting about that list is Luke Voigt was one of the players that went over because Eric Hosmer did not want to go. Yeah. So he was on that list. But last year, at the end of the year, I was able to watch C.J. Abrams play shortstop for the Nationals. He's special. He's going to do some special things in Washington. So that's a big name in return for the great Soto.
And for the Padres right now, as you said, Lois, it's win now. And that lineup, when you're looking at Bogarts and Machado and Tatis and Soto, it could be special. How about this one here, Ronnie? Nolan Arenado goes to the Cardinals, right? Wanted to Colorado. Things had not worked out. And the Rockies get this selection of guys. Jury's out here because we haven't seen much from the likes of Montero, Heel, Gomber, Losi, and Summers. A little bit of Austin Gomber. But Arenado, they get a cornerstone there in St. Louis.
Well, that was a unique situation, right? Because you had a player who had just signed really a contract that you thought would put him or keep him in Denver forever. And a kind of a souring between he and the front office. So he wanted to go, and they pleased him by sending him out. What I'm looking from this list, though, as we go over these first 3 trades, is that these teams are not getting enough for these established players. I think it's very difficult to take someone who knows how to get it done at an all-star or MVP level and go out there and get 5 names that are somehow you're going to hit on 2 or 3 of them to replace them. It very rarely happens.
And that's why where you have to be, as a front office, you try to look for opportunities like that. You think to yourself, okay, here is a team that they have a player that they're not going to be able to retain, and they're forced to do something with them because the last thing you want to do is swing and miss. Next thing you know, this superstar walks into free agency and you get nothing in return. Now, what you get in return, it's a lottery at times because some of these guys are so young that you can only project them, and you cannot really foretell the future.
A couple more trades we can look back as we'll try to foretell the future. Manny Machado goes to the Dodgers. Oh, remember that? Yeah. Diaz, Bannon, Valera, Dean Kramer, Zach Popsy, and a little bit of Popsy, a little bit of Dean Kramer, but that was obviously a massive move there when Manny left Baltimore. And Marcell Ozuna, which is another one when you think of a major trades here. The name's going the other way. I mean, this, oh my, look at the right side. Are you kidding me, Ronnie? Sandy Alcantara and Zach Gallen alone. Forget about Castano and Sierra.
And Gallen was turned into Jazz Chisholm as well. So a big trade. That is one trade where they got some real names in return and made it happen. And Sandy Alcantara might be the Cy Young winner, might be one of the best pitchers in the game right now.
Yeah, that's what you call a win-win. You know, everybody wins, and especially when you look at the fact that we look at that Machado trade, for example, that was half a season, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to give up all those prospects at once. I mean, some of those trades are difficult to pull, man, and you got to have courage in order to go ahead and pull the trigger.
I mentioned Machado, stellar third base. Another one is Alex Rodriguez. Carlos, you want to look at this trade. How about this? A-Rod and cash considerations to the Yankees for Soriano. This is not one of those like 6-for-1. It was just Alfonso Soriano, Joaquin Arias. We're done.
Yeah, and remember this was epic. I mean, Alex wanted to be in New York. No doubt about that. There was no secret he wanted to be there. Soriano was a great player as well at that time. 40-40. I think he hit 39 home runs one year, 40 stolen bases, and then he did it in Washington. Actually, he went 40-40. So you're trading a superstar for another superstar, and then the rest is history. Here comes over here Alex Rodriguez and goes off here in New York, right where he wanted to be.
Still crazy. Aaron Boone playing pickup basketball. He gets hurt, and then that leads to A-Rod.
That's right.
Worked out well for Booney as well, though. Of course, now he's the Yankees manager. All right, still to come here on MLB Tonight. The Dream Series, a special event designed to diversify the pool of pitchers and catchers heading to the big leagues. Our own Harold Reynolds and Chris Young were there live for Hot Stove. We'll take a look back at the fellas next.
Wendy's
Notable arbitration exchange day deals. Juan Soto, $23 million. Josh Hader, $14.1 million. And Rhys Hoskins, the Philadelphia Phillies, at $12 million. Guys cashing in with teams that made big splashes in this offseason as you bring in our friend Tom Verducci. So, Tom, it's interesting. It's one of those days that they can oftentimes goes under the radar for non-baseball fans. But if you know the industry, you know these are important days to lock these guys up. What do you make of the numbers that were exchanged and these big names signing up?
Yeah, let's start with the biggest, Juan Soto. Of course, he has one more bite of the arbitration apple next year. So this year at $23 million, he's actually trending above the record pace that Mookie Betts set with the Red Sox when he was going through his penultimate and then ultimate arbitration seasons. So Juan Soto next year, one more bite at the apple. You know, Betts had $27 million, so it seems at this point, with Soto getting 23 this year, he will get beyond that number and actually challenge the record that was just set by Shohei Ohtani at $30 million in his last arbitration-eligible season. Now, a lot of times we see guys sign extensions going into that last arbitration year. That might be hard for the Padres to lock up Soto because he's looking forward to being a free agent at 26, and they already have a lot of long-term commitments on the payroll.
It's funny. You mentioned those Soto numbers. I remember growing up, 80s baseball, arbitration awards, $1.12 million. And that was cause for big celebration and mayhem. But these guys obviously deserve it. We move on to the automated ball strike system. And it's great to see baseball being so progressive. When it comes to the AAA ballparks, here's what we're going to see. Half the Class AAA games played with all calls determined by an electronic strike zone. The other half using the ABS challenge system, similar to that used in professional tennis, which I love. Each team allowed 3 challenges per game, with teams retaining challenges when they are proved correct. And again, Tom, I just love the fact that baseball is being forward-thinking, being progressive. Let's give it a trial basis and then see what happens come Major League Baseball time. What do you make?